The Aries Girl Podcast. Welcome to the Aries Girl Podcast. I'm your host, Aries Ramsey. All commentary provided in this video is alleged, in my opinion, and for entertainment purposes only, under the guidance of the Fair Use Act of 1976. Well, now that we have that disclaimer out of the way, let's get into the show. Alright, Zodiacs. This week's episode is supposed to address Ken pushing Tricia to complete her divorce, and he will get help from Courtney to do so. Nell's birthday will be celebrated, and Tricia will confess that she is still married, which leads to everyone asking questions. Ticia will have too many drinks and will begin arguing with Nell and Stormy. Hopefully, she won't be drinking monkey shoulder like her mother Wanda. The first scene picks up from last week's cliffhanger. Tricia and Ken are continuing the uncomfortable birthday dinner conversation regarding her getting a divorce. She is scared to get married again, but the intent is there to marry Ken. Her confessional, where she claims that her ex-husband wasn't there for her after her parents and sister passed on, is replayed. This is also where Tricia says that this caused problems at home. Back in scene, Tricia says to Ken that she had a rocky marriage, but I need Tricia to wake up. Listen to me, Tricia. You still have a rocky marriage because you are still married. What don't you understand? Ken says that people need to adapt to changes. After she mentioned how her husband changed on her, Ken is just low-key scared that she might go back to her husband. Meanwhile, I'm low-key scared of how long the scene is going to drag on. Tricia claims in her confessional that she is going to expedite the divorce in the next few months. Then, they both appear in a confessional, with Tricia saying their conversation was a breakthrough and she learned a lot about his feelings. Ken says that their conversation was needed, and he believes Tricia will speed things up regarding her initiating a conversation with her husband about getting the divorce. I'm thinking Tricia's husband will see this episode and hold up the divorce just to spite her because she is embarrassing both of them on national TV. Whatever, let's move on. In the second scene, we find Nell and Chris Fletcher at home. Nell is struggling to find the right pair of shoes and tells Chris that she needs a new closet. In Chris's confessional, he says that he is getting her a new closet built because he's not going to tell Nell to get rid of anything. They discuss Nell's upcoming birthday party and who Chris invited. Nell is worried about who will get along because she doesn't want her birthday party effed up. But Chris thinks that people will behave. Nell mentions that she wants Stormy to come, but is worried about Ticia and Stormy because of their reunion altercation. Chris thinks Ticia and Stormy can talk it out. We also find out that their kids are coming. Back in his confessional, Chris said that he reached out to his daughter Lexi and wants to talk to her. If you saw that interview that Lexi did, you already know that it is going to be a very long time before Lexi talks to her dad and anyone on his side of the family. In the third scene, we meet up with the Scotts, 1.0 and 2.0. Right off the bat, Kimmy is complaining about Maurice eating the last chicken wing, and that you're not supposed to eat the last anything if you love somebody. In Kimmy's confessional, we learn that it has been a minute since they have been able to hang out, and it's good to talk business and pleasure. Back in scene, Kimmy mentions getting bids on the Jordan Lane project. Maurice wants his brother Marceau to do the project, but Kimmy says Marceau has a lot going on. Kimmy's friend Andrea has been helping her with the building renovation design, and she has a technical design already. Currently, there are 3 serious people who want to do the job. She wants the building to remain as an eatery, and Kimmy wants the renovations done quickly, not in a year. In Kimmy's confessional, she states that Marceau's projects go slow and long, that he always has a reason for the delays. She doesn't want that to be a thing between them, and she knows that she can be annoying about getting her projects done on time. Marceau did his mom's house while she was staying with Kimmy and Maurice, and he got frustrated when Kimmy wanted updates on Marceau's progress. He should have kept her in the loop. In Marceau's and Ticia's confessional, Ticia says that some delays are out of your control. Marceau says that in business, things that he gets paid for take priority over pet projects that he pays for, like his mom's house and Scott Manor. He gets paid to build apartment complexes, hotels, and strip centers. Back in scene, Marceau is acting like he can get the project done since a technical design exists. He claims that he has people in the office, project managers, superintendents, people on site, people who procure stuff. I have doubts, and Kimmy says the proof is in the pudding. Maurice is going to let them put in the bid, and Kimmy will make them compete. Most importantly, Kimmy wants Maurice to make it seem like they both want an honest bid from Marceau, not just her. I get so sick of Maurice mansplaining-ish and throwing Kimmy under the bus for any and everything. Now, Ticia says she doesn't care about competing, and she thinks that Marceau should also decide if he wants to work for Kimmy and Maurice, because it is a two-way street. Whatever, Ticia, but I see your point. However, you know that you need the money. Back in Ticia's and Marceau's confessional, he claims that submitting bids is his actual job. Ticia thinks it's great that Kimmy wants them to bid. In Kimmy's confessional, she says that she wants to keep money in the family, but the best predictor of the future is the past. She reminds us that Ticia's not in her office, the strip mall isn't finished, and Scott Manor isn't finished either. Back in scene, Ticia wants Maurice to make Marceau keep his jewelry on, because he isn't wearing his wedding ring. Ticia, baby girl, wearing that ring doesn't stop Marceau from doing what he's going to do. Has everyone noticed a pattern with people not wearing their wedding bands? First Moses and now Marceau? Ugh, let's move on. In the fourth scene, we find Courtney shooting baskets at Shoot 360. Ken meets up with Courtney there for some one-on-one time. In Courtney's confessional, he says that he and Ken played Little League together since they were around 10 years old. They're both competitive people, but today, they are just there to have fun. As they play ball, Ken brings Courtney up to date about Tricia's birthday, her still being married, and Ken wanting to marry her. Courtney asks about a possible engagement and says that Ken shouldn't wait around 5 to 10 years for Tricia. In Ken's confessional, he discusses how Tricia's being married is frustrating. Zodiacs. This entire storyline is frustrating. I'm so sick of Carlos King's sorry attempts at defining deviancy down. In fact, I'm going to do a video on it soon. Back in scene, they discuss the Lovers and Friends gala with Tricia being a model. Ken talks about Martel being shady towards Tricia by acting like he didn't know her, because that could make people think they were a sneaky link for each other. Would anyone else like to know what would make people think that Martel and Tricia could have been a sneaky link? The answer is Ken, Tricia, and Stormy constantly bringing it up and insinuating that people shouldn't think it. Courtney thinks Ken should talk to Martel about this. And I think that I know who's requesting all of these meetups and sit-downs. I'm done with this pointless scene. Let's move on. In the fifth and final scene of this saga, we're finally getting Nell's birthday party underway. Stormy, Courtney, Tricia, and Ken are on a party bus headed to Nell's party. I don't know if Stormy thinks it's a BAPS or Players Club costume party, because I don't know if she's trying to be Niecy or Ronnie. I was not feeling the overly revealing outfit either. It was too much cleavage while wearing Dolly Parton's wig, in my opinion. I'm proud of Stormy's weight loss, but I'm not proud of the way she looks in this outfit. As they are riding to Nell's event location, Stormy collects bones on what Ticia said about people from Tricia. I did a video a while back on Stormy being the new bone collector. Check that out. After this video, Tricia says that she heard that Nell could be loud and rowdy and all in your face. Now, of course, Stormy asked who said it, but Tricia saying that Ticia said it wasn't enough. Stormy has to know how it was said, like as in, watch out, or if Ticia was being descriptive. Stormy tells Tricia that she thinks Nell is warm and motherly, an inspirational auntie. She's only seen Nell get in Martel's face, and it was out of love. All that I can think about in this moment is Stormy talking about how she previously stabbed grass and walls with knives and scissors. So, let's move on. Stormy tells Tricia that she doesn't have to worry about Nell, but then wanted to know what Ticia said about her, and Tricia snitched. She told her that Ticia said 1 minute she was one way and the next minute not. Tricia, I think that everything that you are saying is going to come back to bite you. Hopefully. I'm wrong. Courtney says to Tricia not to believe everything you hear. In Stormi's and Courtney's confessional, Stormi admits that she doesn't like or agree with what Tisha said about her and Nell. She says that Nell does things out of love, and Stormi says she's one way all of the time. Gee, what way is that, Stormi? Never mind. Let's move on to both of the Scotts couples being in what looks like the exact same party bus. If it is the same bus, shouldn't they have just ridden together? Marceau tells Kimmy and Maurice that he thinks it's weird that they got an invite to Stormi's Lovers and Friends Gala and Tisha reads the invitation to them. Maurice thinks the use of the word love is weird in the invite, and Tisha thinks the whole thing is weird because they haven't spoken since the reunion. Marceau wants to have a conversation and tell Stormi and Courtney that he isn't sure what weird is to them, but it's weird to get the invitation when they were just yelling and screaming at the reunion. Maybe that's what they do and what's natural to them, but they don't mesh. Geez, can the person writing the scripts for the Love and Marriage Huntsville cast please get a freaking thesaurus and find a synonym for the word weird? I'm so effing tired of hearing it. Am I supposed to be playing a drinking game by taking a shot every time I hear the word weird? Is there a prize involved? Please let me know. Of course, when we are taken back to the party bus that Tricia, Ken, Courtney and Stormi are on, Courtney says that he doesn't want things to be weird at the party because he only likes Chris and Martel. Stormi asks him about the Scotts and says that he shouldn't have a problem with Maurice. But Courtney said he didn't like the way Maurice treated Kimmy during chemo. I'm going to be 100% honest. That statement about how Maurice treated Kimmy during chemo earned Courtney all of my respect. It lets Stormi know that Courtney will stand beside her when she's in need. We are finally taken to Nell's party at the Icon. Her birthday space is beautifully decorated. Nell's son Lance arrives with the cake and then the Scotts walk in and start with the mess and gossip. Kimmy asked if Lexi was coming, and Tisha said that Lexi mentioned that she wasn't coming back around and brought up the interview that Lexi did with the blogger. The Scott brothers welcomed the Fletchers into the realm of reality TV. Kimmy said she reached out to Nell after the interview, and Nell's niece Kiki said that Nell wasn't fazed. Of course, Marceau adds his 2 cents in and says he doesn't know why people brag about not being fazed because humans spend their life building a reputation. I think that some people will just say anything to ensure that they get paid for being in a scene. Maurice wants to know if the situation with Lexi can be fixed, and Lance thinks it's going to take a lot of willingness from everyone. Melody arrives to the Icon wearing her sunglasses at night. In her confessional, she says that she's happy for her friend Nell's birthday and that they will cut a rug dancing. Back in scene, Melody walks in and greets everyone. However, when she got near Tisha, Tisha told her to take her damn shades off. Then, Tisha tries to take Melody's shades off herself. What the hell? Tisha, we need to have a quick chat and talk about boundaries and personal space. Then, Tisha brings up Melody wanting to talk to Marceau, but Melody tells her that she's not doing that at Nell's party. Courtney, Stormi, Tricia, and Ken finally arrive to the party and greet everyone hello. However, Tisha's energy immediately changed once she saw Stormi walk in. In Marceau's confessional, he says that he knows Ken and Tricia from the gym and Black. He saw them independently before he saw them together as a couple. Also, he calls them Mr. and Mrs. Body of Huntsville. Back in scene, Tisha wants to know how is it that Nell was that late to her own party. Then, magically on cue, Nell and Chris entered, dancing, bumping, and grinding. In Nell's confessional, she said that she was very excited that her kids threw her a party. The only other party she had was when she turned 40. Nell and Chris make their rounds, speaking to everyone. When Nell greets Tisha, she tells Nell that she looks so young. When Nell made it to Tricia, she had to ask what her name was again. Nell sits down with the ladies and Tisha asks her how she's been and wants to discuss age. Some of this can be blamed on Tisha consuming too much alcohol, but all of it can be attributed to Tisha's lack of couth. Damn Tisha, do better. With all that Tisha is drinking, Mel thinks that Tisha's in danger of becoming Wanda Jr. in her confessional. Tisha is drunk, loud, and an extra country fried Bessemer bumpkin in this moment. She wants Nell to take a shot, but Nell isn't trying to get effed up. Tisha doesn't understand why Nell doesn't want to discuss her age, and Kimmy has to explain to her that Nell can talk about what she wants to because it's her birthday. But Tisha just won't let it go. Earlier in the conversation, she channeled her inner Aaliyah and told Nell that age ain't nothing but a number. We are saved when the bottle girls come in blowing bubbles and giving bottle service to the guys. I'm not sure why Nell didn't get this treatment first since it's her birthday, but she eventually did. Stormy turns to Tricia and asks her if she's related to Chris Fletcher, and Nell wants to know how as well, and Tricia explains that it's on her mom's side of the family. Tricia also mentioned how she would speak to Chris by saying, "Hey cuz," but he didn't know who she was. Tisha blurts out that Tricia is a trainer, and Nell responds that she could look at Tricia and tell. This entire conversation is so forced and manufactured, not to mention unnecessary. Tisha told Nell that she wanted to look like Tricia, and Nell told her that she better get busy. To soften the blow, Nell said that she had to get busy because they were swole. Maurice wants to know if the ladies want a bottle, and Tisha says yes. Courtney asks if they want shots. However, Marceau said that Tisha wasn't getting a bottle, and Tisha replies that she was because she was good. Tisha is not good. We know that Tisha's goal is to look like Tricia. However, Stormy's goal is to do a swimsuit competition. Melody asks Tricia if she's always been a trainer, and Tricia responds by letting them know that she only became a trainer after her parents passed away. Her goal is for her to still be alive at 55. Melody comforts Tricia by telling her that she has angels protecting her, but Kimmy interrupted Melody and asked Tricia if she was married. Kimmy, I think that you are a few pages ahead of everyone in the script. Try keeping up. Tricia immediately starts scrambling and rambling, trying to explain. She says she was, and then that she is still married. Kimmy asks her to slow down and everyone starts chiming in. Even Nell told Tricia to join the club. Kimmy got clarification that Ken, the guy Tricia came in with, was not Tricia's husband. Part of me thinks that Kimmy instantly trauma bonded with Ken and could relate to Tricia since she was giving off Maurice vibes. I guess when Maurice heard Kimmy ask about Tricia's marital status, it was his cue to ask Ken if he was married. Again, this feels so damn scripted, and I'm tired of it. Ken tells Maurice that they aren't married yet, and Maurice immediately asks Ken when they are getting married. Since Ken is unable to give an answer, all of the guys just start laughing. Ken explained that Tricia was technically still married, but that she had been separated from her husband for 5 years. And just like an ignoramus, Marceau asked Ken how long he had known about Tricia's being married, to which Ken replied that Tricia told him right out of the gate. In his confessional, Ken mentions that he's private, but he wants the right people to know about his situation with Tricia because not a lot of people know that she is separated from her husband. Back in scene with the ladies, Melody clarifies that Tricia has been separated from her husband for 5 years and asked when they started their paperwork, and Tricia admits that they never started the paperwork, but that she will talk to her husband soon about getting a divorce. Marceau asks Ken if he thinks he's missing anything, to which Ken responds that he trusts Tricia. Maurice reminds Ken that it's been 5 years, and Courtney responds that it's Tricia's husband that won't sign the paperwork. Maurice suggests talking to a lawyer. We rejoin the ladies as Tisha tells Tricia that they're excited to have her in the group hanging out more. Then Tisha says the girls are feisty, and Tricia admits that she's feisty too. Nell says that everyone can be feisty, and Tisha doubles down by saying especially Nell. Tisha continues by saying that the group will give her a hard-ass time, but at the end of the day, they make them better. Nell asked Tisha why she would say that, and then Tisha claimed that Nell was a mentor as well. And of course, Melody co-signed the mentor statement. Nell again asks Tisha why she would say that she's feisty, and Tisha says because you are. Nell asked Tisha if she thought of herself as feisty, and Tisha responded, no, I do not. Melody explains to Tisha that what she just said was feisty. In Kimmy's confessional, she admits that things are getting turned up. Tisha's getting turned up, and when Tisha gets too turned, Latisha comes out. I was under the impression that Kimmy called Tisha by her government name of Latisha. However, Some people think that Kimmy said Tisha. I guess we will find out soon enough. Nell sets the record straight by telling Tisha that she doesn't mess with anybody and that she stays in her own lane with all of the ladies. And she hasn't done anything to Tisha. Tisha responds by telling Nell that her name is too close to Mel's. So, Tisha is going to start calling Nell Nell. Nell tried to tell Tisha to call her Nell and not La Nell, but Tisha had enough liquid courage in her to argue back and forth with Nell about what name she was going to call her by. Tisha, you in danger, girl. Nell changed Tisha's name to Tish and told her she was doing the effing most. Tisha claps back by saying that she could do the most, and Nell lets Tisha know that she can do the most too. Tisha even had the nerve to tell Nell that she could do the most because it was her birthday. In Nell's confessional, she says that Tisha is calling her out like she has big D energy. She thought that she was in a great space with Tisha, but apparently they aren't. She doesn't understand where this is coming from. Tisha tells Nell that they will talk later. When Nell asked where it came from, Stormy asks what it was about, and Nell says she doesn't know. Then Stormy mentions how Tisha's tone made things weird, so Tisha got a little more animated. Tisha tells Stormy that weird is inviting someone to a Galentine's celebration when you haven't talked to them in months, because she hasn't spoken to Stormy since the reunion. Stormy tells Tisha that she's sorry she finds the invitation weird. Tisha asked everyone who was at the reunion if it would be weird to them. Melody told Tisha not to include her in this. Stormy then reminded Tisha that the last thing that she said at the reunion was that she had respect for everyone there and that she has great energy tonight. Now, Tisha claims that she has great energy too. Nell tries to break things up before it gets too far by telling them that they could hash it out separately. But Tisha kept it going by telling Stormy that what she said at the reunion wasn't friendly. Stormy asked Tisha to tell her what she said, and reminded Tisha about her telling her to go pop some pills. She then asked Tisha what she meant by that, and Tisha said, "You tell me what I meant." They continued arguing back and forth with Stormy asking about the pop some pills statement and Tisha asking about the Galentine's invite. The camera zooms in on Marceau and Courtney noticing the argument. Stormy literally clapped her hands and told Tisha to tell her what she meant. And Tisha clapped her hands together as well and told Stormy that she heard what she said. Phew. The episode ends here with a cliffhanger. I couldn't take much more of this foolishness, and I'm dreading to see how this party is going to end. I'm thinking that Nell wishes that she didn't invite Tisha along with Martel. Also, Tisha better be careful because Stormy and her temper believe in stabbing grass and walls. Not to mention that Tricia is the real She-Hulk. This concludes my recap and review of Love and Marriage Huntsville Season 8, Episode 6 entitled No More Nice Tish. Please leave a comment below and join me on the next Aries Girl podcast episode right here on YouTube. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel so that you never miss an episode. I'll see you on the next podcast. Until then, take care.